Welcome back to our YouTube channel, The Book Digest. In today's episode, we're diving into a powerful and practical summary of The Daily Trading Coach by Dr. Brett Steenbarger. Now, this is a book that argues the biggest mistake traders make has nothing to do with their strategy, but everything to do with their psychology. It makes a really compelling case that the key to success isn't something you'll find on your screen, it's already inside your head.
So let's just start with the million-dollar question, the one that haunts the entire industry. Why do so many smart, hardworking people fail at trading? Is it because they're missing that one perfect indicator or some secret strategy? Maybe the right guru? Well, this book proposes a radically different and honestly a much more powerful answer.
And here's where the book just flips conventional wisdom right on its head. See, most people think trading failure is a technical problem. You know, if I just had a better system, I'd be profitable. But Steenbarger says, nope, that's not it at all. Traders don't fail because their systems are bad. They fail because they can't manage themselves, their own impulses, their fears, and their overconfidence. It's a psychological battle, plain and simple.
Okay, so to really unpack this, here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the real trading problem. Then we'll get into how to become your own coach. After that, we'll look through 3 critical psychological lenses. Discover the power of building on your strengths. And finally, we'll see how this all connects to life beyond the trading screen.
All right, let's get right to the heart of it. The book's central idea is that the market isn't your main opponent, you are. The real battle is internal. It's fought against your own emotional reactions to winning and especially to losing.
So this is the journey the book lays out. It argues that the most powerful, the most sustainable edge you can ever develop isn't found in some complex algorithm. It's in mastering your own mind. And that's a skill that requires the same deliberate, structured practice as any other high-performance discipline, like being an athlete or a surgeon. So if the problem is psychological, what's the solution? Well, it's not about just passively learning ideas from a book. It's about actively building the capacity to coach yourself, to become your own trading psychologist, right there in the heat of the moment.
So what does this self-coaching thing actually look like in practice? The book presents it as an active craft, a 3-part process. First, you have to observe your patterns. Second, you intervene with specific techniques. And third, and this is the hard one, you find ways to make that change stick. It's all about shifting from being a passive learner who just reads about this stuff to an active practitioner who's doing it.
And the book itself is brilliant. It's structured like a coaching manual. Each of its 101 lessons follows this exact same repeatable process. It identifies a super common trading challenge, explains the psychology behind it, and then gives you a concrete, specific technique you can go and implement right away. It's literally a blueprint for deliberate practice.
And this is so crucial. We've all been there, right? We've all made resolutions to stop revenge trading or to actually stick to our plan. That initial burst of motivation, that's the easy part. Sustaining it is what's really hard. The book explains that real, lasting change only happens when a new behavior becomes a reinforced habit, when it actually feels more natural to do the right thing than the old, destructive one.
Now, to help us understand why we act the way we do, the book gives us 3 really powerful psychological lenses to look at our trading behavior. Think of them as different angles on the same problem. Each one reveals a different layer. Let's start with the first one. Okay, lens number 1 is psychodynamic. It's a fancy word, but it basically means looking at how our past shapes our present. The idea is that we unconsciously treat the market like a relationship. Our early life experiences, say with scarcity or authority, create these emotional blueprints. And then the market comes along and triggers these old patterns. For example, someone who grew up with a lot of scarcity might be psychologically wired to snatch profits too early, even when their system says to let them run.
The second lens is cognitive, and this one is all about the present moment. It focuses on the specific thoughts and beliefs that are zipping through your mind right before, during, and after a trade. The idea is pretty simple. Your thoughts drive your feelings, and your feelings drive your actions. It's a direct chain reaction. Steenbarger says the source of all these negative feelings are what he calls toxic assumptions. These are basically irrational beliefs that we treat as cold, hard facts. You know, things like thinking, a loss means I'm inadequate. That thought right there turns a normal, totally probable event, a losing trade, into this devastating personal judgment. And of course, that judgment then leads to terrible decisions.
And the third lens is behavioral. From this angle, your trading problems aren't about deep-seated issues from your past or flawed thoughts. Nope, they are simply bad habits that have been reinforced over time. Think about it. If you took a wild, impulsive trade once and it paid off big, your brain got a huge reward. It was conditioned to repeat that behavior, even if it fails 9 out of 10 times. So how in the world do you break a bad habit like that? The book introduces this really clever and powerful technique called incompatibility. The logic is simple. You literally can't do two conflicting things at once. For instance, you can't impulsively jump into a trade if you've made a rule that you first have to stand up, walk to the other side of the room, and say the reason for the trade out loud. By forcing yourself to do a constructive behavior, you make it impossible to do the destructive one. Now pay close attention, because this next idea is honestly one of the most powerful in the entire book. Most of us, we obsess over fixing our weaknesses, right? We pour all our energy into what we're doing wrong. Steenbarger argues that it is far more effective to focus on what you're already doing right. This quote right here really gets to the heart of it. Let me say that again. Focusing on your best trading begins the process of extinguishing your worst practices. Think about that. You don't get rid of the bad habits by fighting them head on. They sort of wither away because you're too busy cultivating excellence. You starve them of your attention. So the practical takeaway here is huge. Analyze your best trades with the same intensity you apply to your worst ones. What was your mindset like? How did you prepare that day? What were the market conditions? You need to identify all the ingredients of your success and then work deliberately to recreate those conditions every single day.
Okay, in our final section, let's connect all this deep psychological work to the practical day-to-day business of trading. Because let's be real, a great mindset alone isn't enough. It needs a solid structure to actually operate within.
Steenbarger really emphasizes that your psychological skills need a solid business framework to have any chance of success. This means, of course, having enough capital, having sound risk management, and sizing your positions correctly. But he puts a special emphasis on that last one, finding your specific trading niche. This, he says, is absolutely crucial.
And why is that niche so important? Because a huge source of stress and poor performance comes from trying to be a type of trader you're just not built to be. Imagine a calm, methodical, long-term thinker trying to scalp fast-moving markets. It's a disaster waiting to happen. You're just fighting your own nature. So finding a style and a time frame that actually aligns with your personality isn't just a good idea. It's essential for your psychological stability and for reaching peak performance.
And ultimately, the message of this book goes so far beyond the market. I mean, the ability to observe yourself honestly, to change your ingrained habits, and to build on your strengths. These aren't just trading skills, they're life skills. These are the things that lead to success in any field, whether it's your career, your relationships, or just your personal well-being. So we'll leave you with this final question. It's a complete shift in perspective. Instead of asking what you can get from the market, Steenbarger encourages us to ask, what is the market trying to teach me about myself? When you look at it that way, trading becomes the ultimate tool for self-discovery because it gives you instant, brutally honest feedback on the quality of your thinking and the strength of your own character.